Hey, you guys asked for it and here it is. Here's your basic guide to flipping quads for mad profit. First thing we got to figure out is how much money do you have to spend? If you don't have a lot of money to spend, you might want to get into one of these Chinese quads. These things are super cheap to get into. This is going to be your lowest initial investment. You can get these things for $100 to $200 and easily flip them for $500 to $700. The parts are super cheap. They can be had on Amazon and eBay. And usually these things are in pretty good condition because kids just outgrow them and people shove them in the shed. Just be picky about what you buy. Your next category is probably going to be an adult mid-size quad like this one behind me. Now this is the biggest pool to pick from, so you have to do your research on what you're buying. Something like this, you could pick up for anywhere between the price of the small Chinese quad all the way into the thousands. This old thing only cost me like 120 some bucks, but even though it's old and in good running condition and looking decent, it'll net me $1,000. Now, if you got a bunch of money to spend, maybe this is more your speed, something like this King Quad. Four-wheel drive or newer sports quads, you can spend a couple thousand on them and get a bigger profit. However, there's more risk. If you get a lemon, you might have just blew a couple $1,000s. So beware and be very stringent when you're buying these things. One of the most important things before you make a purchase on a quad is knowing your market. Go on Marketplace after you decide what quad that you want to buy and work on and figure out what they're going for these days. With the market and importing, prices are going up and down all the time, so you have to be diligent whenever you're making these investments. If I know this quad only goes for $1,000, I'm not going to try to get $3,000 out of it because nobody will ever buy it. One of the most important things are whenever you go to look at a quad, make sure you bring a jump pack and ether with you. 90% of the times, anything that's this cheap is not going to be running. However, it might just need a carb clean and a battery. They almost always need batteries. So hook up the jump pack, spray a little bit of ether in, crank it over and see if it fires. It'll probably only run for 2 to 5 seconds on the ether, but you'll be able to hear if there's any kind of engine noise that is very obvious. And you'll also be able to see that, well, it has spark and all the other systems are working okay. And basically what that does is that lowers your probability of getting ripped off. And obviously whenever it comes time to buy the thing, make sure that you're getting it at a price that you can make money on it. Don't buy it for what it's worth. That obviously makes no sense. After you buy your machine, you're going to have to go online and look up the parts that it needs. Me personally, I use Amazon and eBay as much as possible. That's where they sell the most reasonable parts. As you're fixing it, try to make everything work. Nothing quite sells a bike like when in the description you put in those words, everything works. That is a huge selling point. After you get the bike mechanically sound, now it's time to make the bike look good. Power wash it, detail it. I like to use SE1, but if you have tire shine, that works too, just not as well. And then take really good pictures before you post it. Figure out how much money you have to sell it for. You got to make a profit. Obviously, don't overprice the thing, but definitely don't underprice yourself. You can always lower the price a little bit, but I would say shoot high. If you go through all the steps that I just said and make the thing look good and run good, you could probably get top dollar for it. That's usually what I do. Now, the description is going to be one of the most important things. The picture pulls them in, the description keeps them there. Whenever my description reads, in great shape, runs good, fresh oil change, fresh spark plug, ready to go, needs nothing, everything works. Those key words are going to make somebody look at it and say, okay, this is the bike. Because 90% of people that aren't like us, like they flip quads and work on stuff, they just want to get on something and ride. And that's your goal, is to make something that they can get on and just go. If you followed all the steps that I said, you should have people blowing up your inbox. Remember, take good pictures, make it look good, and make it run good. The moment that you hit the start button, it should fire right up. That's going to sell the bike whenever somebody shows up to actually buy it. Also, the thing to remember is whenever you make it look good, there's probably 20 other bikes just like yours, and people are scrolling through, and you need yours to stand out. That's where the good pictures and making it look good comes into play. People are willing to pay a little bit more money for something that looks way better. And by the time the person comes to look at it, they're probably going to try to talk you down, but you'll have so many people in your inbox, you can literally tell them, I have 8 people behind you that are ready to buy at full price. I'm going to need full price. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to give you full price. Whenever I started doing this, my goal was to buy myself a nice quad for me to ride with my son. Now this is his quad, he scoots it around and it works fine, but I didn't have anything reliable enough to ride with him to teach him how to ride. I ended up flipping quads until I was able to afford a like-new Suzuki King quad, and I crushed that goal. After doing that, I decided, well, maybe there's something to this. Maybe I can get into more investment opportunities and this kind of stuff can fund it. My next venture is probably going to be real estate, so I'm going to keep flipping quads until I can make that happen. If I was able to do that, I'm sure that I can make the real estate thing happen as well. If If you guys find this information useful and you want more guides or any more specifics, drop it in the comments below. Hit the like button and please subscribe. By doing that, it's going to help the channel grow and it's going to make me do more videos. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me. I'm going to see you on the next one.